So it's going to be another big weekend in the Premier League, of course, for both ends of the table. Huge games kicking off both ends in terms of relegation, European race, and also the title race as well, of course. So predicting every game here for this weekend. We've got coming up, starting with the London Derby. The early game on the Saturday is Brentford at home to Fulham. Usually a really exciting game this. Since they've both come up and established themselves in the Premier League, it's usually a very exciting tie. It's been 3-2s between them that I can remember. There's been last minute goals. It's been usually a very exciting tie. A very exciting match. So I think I think again it's quite often the home team takes advantage here. So could this be Brentford stay in this one? I think so. I fancy Brentford just to get the result here. I think both of them still got a very good. Both of them still got a chance at Europe. I thought Fulham last week were really poor at Liverpool, actually. Whereas Brentford, although they conceded last minute against Everton, they really, it was a really closely competitive game where both teams are on good form. And you could tell both teams are on good form. Brentford on fantastic form. A European finish is very, very likely for them. I think more likely than it is for Fulham at this stage. I think they'll do it. I think they'll win 2-1 to Brentford. I'm going to say there. I think that's, like I say, I think that's usually a very good game though. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is also a very entertaining game. So 3 o'clock games now. We've got Leeds against Wolves. Wolves could be relegated this weekend, I believe. So their chances of safety either way though is gone. Whereas Leeds, with that massive win over United, got themselves 6 points clear of the relegation zone. Could be huge. They could go 9 points clear here before anyone else in the relegation battle plays. Which of Spurs, who are 18th, they could go 9 points clear of. They've got a hard game this weekend. We'll get to in a minute. So they could get themselves all but safe. To be honest, Leeds this weekend. If they could do that, if they leave this weekend 9 points clear, if the results get away 8 or 9 clear, I'm not sure there's any catching them. They'll go down there. I think that'll be it. I think this could this be the game where they secure their safety against the Wolves side that maybe for a couple of weeks shown improvement, and they have improved under Rob Edwards, but for a couple of weeks they looked like they were going to cause some problems to teams. They didn't really have anything to play for. No pressure on them. They could be a problem, but that wasn't the case at all at West Ham last week. 4-0 maybe doesn't tell the full story, but West Ham were convincing winners, especially as Wolves really played into their hands as well. So I'm going to say 3-1 Leeds. I think Leeds win 3-1 at home. Decent, comfortable enough home performance, and I think that's at this moment. I think they're very close to being safe for sure. Newcastle and Bournemouth. Bournemouth got a good recent record against Newcastle. I think they might continue this year. Even though Newcastle at home, they're better at home. They've not been as good recently, even at home, and their away form shocking. And they're also throwing away more leads than anyone else in the Premier League this season. On the day, Bournemouth have had the news this week. Iraola leaving at the end of the season. Real Madrid job vacant, so maybe that's got something to do with it. But either way, he could get Bournemouth into their first ever European finish this season, which would be a good way to leave the club. Obviously, he's done a fantastic job there over the. This is his third season, or mostly. I think he has been there. Yeah, that's how long he's been there. About 3 years. So I think Bournemouth win here. Actually, I'm going for 1-0. I think they're solid. I think they will beat Newcastle at the moment. I think current form could be very important in this match. Both of them have only in the lead now, so it's all just a case of trying to battle for the last European spots. And I think Bournemouth at the moment are looking better to do that than Newcastle, I believe, at this moment. Okay, so Spurs and Brighton. Spurs at home, scrapping for points. They could be 9 points off of Leeds by this point when they play. De Zerbi's first game didn't go to plan. Another game without a goal, 1-0 defeat. Didn't go they wanted it to. Will this be any different? I think so against the Brighton side that are on brilliant form, ended the season really strong, going to make a real push for Europe for sure. I think could well get in there at this point. I'm going to say 3-1 to Brighton. 3-1, I reckon. Can't see Spurs doing much against them at the moment, to be honest. Which would obviously pile a lot more pressure on them, even more than there already is in terms of trying to survive. It's now getting to the point where it's looking quite likely they could go down with Leeds doing so well, with Forest doing well, West Ham fighting and showing so much improvement under Nuno. Worrying times for Spurs. Chelsea versus Man United. Chelsea at home. Big game in terms of Champions League. With Man United losing the other night, if we're going to catch them and get in top 4 or 5, this feels like a last chance. But under Rosigne, with how bad we're playing at the moment, I can't see it. My honest prediction, United lost that one game at home to Leeds at on the Monday night, but I don't think they can read too much into that. I think whether they keep Carrick or not long term, that's a separate thing, really. I think United are in a good position now to kick on and get top 4 either way. I can't see them having too much trouble. I honestly think they'll finish the season strong still. I think that more just a one-off result, that one. I know they had the defeat against Newcastle, but at the end of the day, their form Carrick either way has improved their form drastically, and I know they've not had any other competitions to contend with. It's just been the league. A lot more questions could be asked next season and over the summer and whatever. But as for the rest of this season, I think United are in a strong position. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Man United, especially as the way we're playing at the moment. I don't think it'll be a problem for them. Forest and Burnley. Forest at home. Again, this is a massive opportunity for Nottingham Forest as well. When you think Spurs having a hard game, look at the opportunity now. Leeds and Forest have got this weekend to get a lead on them. A comfortable lead as well. Forest, you're playing in Europe tonight, but again, playing on the Sunday, and it didn't matter last time out. I know Villa had the European game as well, and they won. They had the draw between the two of them. But Burnley are all but relegated as well. They're not much better than Wolves. They're pretty much in the same position as Wolves, where survival is very unlikely. I don't think they could actually be relegated this weekend, but they're as good as gone. So 2-0 to Nottingham Forest. Don't think it will be a problem for them. It's been a long, long time since Burnley have won a game as well. I can't see this being a problem for Nottingham Forest. I really can't. Maybe, depending on the Spurs result, they could get a bit of a lead, much like Leeds have. But they're 3 points behind Leeds. They could maybe, if the results go how I predict them so far, they could get a bigger lead over the relegation zone with that win. So, big opportunity there against Burnley for sure. Moving on with the rest of the games on the Sunday, we have Aston Villa, Sunderland. Aston Villa at home. Tight game, close game. I think Villa looking good for Champions League through the league. Sunderland still got a good chance of the European spot, and they're on good form recently as well. I think I'm going to go for Villa just at home. Home advantage, I think, could be important. Although Villa have got the Thursday night game, but they do seem to be ended the season quite strong. So I'm going to say 2-1 to Aston Villa. I think they'll get the result here, and I think that will just ease any sort of doubt over their Champions League qualification through the league there. Everton and Liverpool. Everton at home. I'm going to go for a draw there. I'm going to go for 1-1. I think Liverpool out of the Champions League now. All they've got to focus on is just securing that 5th place. That said, though, Everton in the European push and are on such good form at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if they win this. But I'm going to go for 1-1. I think it's an important game for both teams. And I think draw's the sensible prediction at the moment. City and Arsenal, City at home. Man City could go. And they got themselves in a position now where they're 6 points off of Arsenal with a game in hand, so they could get themselves level on points here. The goal difference is pretty much neck and neck as well. It could well be a case of final day if City are to win here that it's only goal difference separating the teams, and then it might even be a case because it's so tight on the goal difference. 38 for Arsenal, 35 for Man City. That'll get even closer if City win here. It could be a case of the team who scores most goals on the final day would win the league. I think it could pan out. So I think that's what it would come down to if that's what all they're separated by on the final day. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be incredibly tight if City do win here. But if Arsenal could grind out a draw, fantastic result that would be for them. If you look at Arsenal's running, I would sort of fancy Arsenal to win their remaining games. It looks like not a decent last 4 fixtures. The only game in there that could potentially be a problem is West Ham fighting for safety. But like I say, they got through in the Champions League this week. Arsenal, bad result against Bournemouth. Be keen to put that behind them, and they need to put it behind them because they can't. That's the only thing. They can't afford any sort of slip up in the league. They've had that one defeat after a really, really good run where they've just not been touched for so long. So this has to go to, there has to be no more slip ups. I mean, if they lose here, Arsenal in theory is still in their hands though. I still think if they lose this game, it doesn't necessarily mean they won't win the league. It doesn't even necessarily make Man City favourites. I honestly think if they win this game, they're pretty much inseparable. The two of them. City do seem to be really sort of starting to hit form now. They beat us 3-0 last week, but that was largely helped by how poor we were. But they also beat Liverpool 4-0 the previous week. They really have found the form just when it matters this season, which they always seem to do. I'm going to say on the day, I think City win 2-1. I think they keep this race going right to the wire. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a really good title race, no doubt as well. Whatever happens here, it's going to be tight going into these remaining games. But I mean, if Arsenal's come up and win, I think, yeah, safe to say they've won the league. But if City win, all of a sudden it just swings the momentum as well, which could be key. But again, a draw, better for Arsenal. So this does feel for City, must win. That's what I will say. I think City do have to win here to, if they're going to have a good chance of winning this. So I'm not sure I see Arsenal slipping up again, which the Bournemouth game I think was by far the hardest fixture they've got left. Okay, so the final game of the weekend then, I think it's another London derby. Will this be a Monday night one? Yeah, it will be a Monday night one between Crystal Palace and West Ham. At the moment, West Ham fighting for safety. Good chance maybe to get something on the board here, with Palace not really having much to play for. Realistic chance of Europe comes through the Conference League more than this, which I think the focus will be on. They're playing on Thursday night as well. No, this game's on the Monday. We can see that can have an impact. They have found a bit of form though, Palace. They're playing a bit better than they was in recent weeks, leading up to this point. They have found a bit of form again. But West Ham, like I say, fighting for every point at the moment and doing quite well at it as well. They've got themselves out of the relegation zone now. And they are, well, they're in a position now where it's getting to the point where it's almost looking like them versus Spurs, particularly if Forest can get that win they need against Burnley this weekend. On the day, I think this could be another draw. I'm going to say 2-2 because I think West Ham really need the points, but Palace have found that bit of form recently. So I think that's what I'm going to go for there. So a draw. So that's my Premier League predictions for this weekend. Coming towards the end of the season now, but again, I feel like we're saying this every weekend, but this weekend really is pivotal in terms of we've got the title 6-pointer, some big matches that are going to drastically affect the bottom of the table. And like I say, the games all in the European race, Liverpool, Everton, Chelsea, Man United, huge games there, massive fixtures. It's going to be very interesting to see which way this weekend goes. It's pivotal for a lot of teams and do or die for a lot of teams at this point, I feel as well.